Have you recovered from your trip?
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
How
Uh,
are the image processing tasks coming?
Slowly, I'm tackling it in chronological order now. So
Okay.
I'm on Tuesday.
Well, good.
But listen, I'm glad my photos first. I can't stay for the whole webinar today, so I
Okay.
have to do a hit and run, and I'll have to catch everybody else on the recording.
That is
Um,
fine. That is fine.
okay.
I'm hoping that we can get through it kind of fast. I have to get downtown. I don't want to short this for anyone, so I'm here as long as I need to, but I do have to get downtown for my kids' chorus thing. I'm the official photographer, and it's dress rehearsal day. So,
Woohoo.
um,
Well, it's my daughter's 11th birthday today, so we have
oh,
plans.
well, happy birthday to her. All right. Well, let's take a look at your shot. You went with a very, very simple still life approach.
Yeah. There's I had a really hard time with this actually. I there's a local guy that smokes that I want to take his photo, but I don't know him to find him. I just have to find him around town, and this week I couldn't.
Okay.
um, so I'm still going to try and get that shot, but then I went with this one, and I had to work up my courage to go in and buy these.
Mhm.
It was quite funny. I'm apparently very anti-smoking, and I had a hard time just walking into the store. But then I roped the poor clerk into helping me choose which pack to buy.
There you
So
go.
I told him what it was for, and I said I either want the cheapest ones or the prettiest ones. And we had a big long discussion about what was in each pack and what they looked like. And it was pretty funny.
Well, you did a really good job with it, and I you got the title on the top, very
Yeah,
readable, and you let that one little one come in over here on
yeah,
purpose because it's too centered to be an accident.
yeah.
Hid it from everything else. That's very cool. I'm smoking is one of those weird things for me, um, and everybody has their own viewpoint on it. You, when people die in a house fire, do you know what they usually die of, Tracy?
Smoke inhalation.
Smoke inhalations. So you kind of go, okay, does that tell us anything? Is there anything to be learned from that terrible tragedy? And the other thing is, I often wonder how it got started. There had to be a time before smoking, and somebody had to be, a bunch of guys sitting around, and one guy goes, "What do you guys want to do?" And the other guy's, "I don't know. I don't know. What do you want to do?" Wow, let's burn something and suck the smoke into our lungs. Somebody else in that group had to go, dude, that's cool.
Let's do that.
Let's do that. And what did they do? They tried what? Oak, eucalyptus, grass. They had to hit on one product that was dead and dried, and then they could smoke. They could put the stuff into their suck it up. And what is? There's just this fascinating backstory. It's like for me, it's like how did they discover you had to boil a lobster live? Otherwise, it would poison you. You know, how many people died?
Well,
Well, I guess broiling doesn't work. They were bound and determined to figure out some way to eat that lobster that it wouldn't kill you. So I
but
just
that's not right, though. You can. The purists think that it tastes better, but
oh
I've boiled dead lobsters. We killed them right before, but
okay. Well,
we
I
didn't do
I
that.
had always heard that you had to do it that way, and
Mm.
I live in the desert, Tracy. So
Yeah,
lobster
I know.
we don't do a lot of lobster hunting here.
I had well, I'm not going back to my photo.
Uh huh.
They're not square. It's not square. I tried, but once I had the photos off my camera, it's obviously just a little bit wonky. And that's really bothering me, but I wanted to ask you
Can
I
you
guess how
can you
much that
square them
matters.
in Lightroom?
I tried and it just kind of didn't work. I don't know. I didn't spend a whole lot of time with it. I just did this yesterday.
Okay.
Um, and I could, pull it all out and reshoot too, except I'm not sure that it took forever to get them to line up.
Yeah.
Um, because they want to roll.
Yes.
And the other thing is the where it says Super Slims, that's silver lettering.
Uh huh.
So it was really hard when I I tried to light that so that it kind of jumped out, but then the silver washed out.
Yeah, if you put the silver up
So
against the white, you're in trouble.
yeah.
Yeah. So what
So
you did was a negative. You used like either a black card or just let it not reflect anything, right?
I just let it not reflect, and then in Photoshop, I went in and burned the letters darker so that they stood out
Yes.
more.
Yes, and that's something that uh, the brand, the cigarette brand, they would understand that and they would go with it. Now, um, they may have you shoot that 5 different ways with a little bit of silver and a lot of silver, whatever, and then later blend them to just try to make that silver come through. But you're
Yeah.
absolutely right. If you light the silver up, you're never going to see it against white because it
Yeah.
basically is white on white. That's
I want. I wondered whether they would deconstruct one and take the photo just of the letters from a flat
they
piece
could
and then put it
absolutely.
in.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. With what they can do now with digital, there would be 100 ways to approach this, but they
Okay.
absolutely could do that. Bring that right
Okay.
in and just make it do something to make it look more metallic if they had
Yeah.
to. Yeah. As
Okay.
far as shooting it square, um, you could put like a pin with a piece of thread here and here and here and here and line that square up visually in your camera,
Oh yeah.
and then remove the pins. That's one way of doing it. Making sure that where that center point where they cross here, that's dead center in your camera. The camera lens would have to come straight down to that X. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you'd be in a position to square it off. But if you're off just by 2 degrees, you'll get this little bit of it's kind of skewing up to the top here.
Yeah.
That's
Okay. I'll do that next time then, because I mean I used a ruler to get them um, lined up on one end. I know they
uh-huh.
kind of look wonky, but one end was really quite straight when I started.
Yep.
But
Well,
okay,
nice background, by the way.
thank you.
What is that?
Scrapbooking paper.
Oh, okay. Oh, great idea. Boy, I hadn't thought of that. It's got a nice
Tammy used some.
got a nice tooth to it, huh?
Yeah, yeah. Tammy used some that was corrugated, red corrugated, and I've
Uh-huh.
been every time I go anywhere that sells it now, I just look to see what they've got. So,
And this would be like at Joann's or
Michael's, I think I got this actually. Yeah,
Michael's. Oh, okay. Very cool.
yeah.
Thanks, Tracy. Have a good birthday party.
Thank you.
And Thad, are you there? Thad, are you there? I am not getting any audio from you, Thad. So we may have that wonky go to webinar thing going on here. Sorry about that. You may have to go out and come back in. I have no audio from you. I will watch for you, and as soon as you come back in, we'll jump back to your picture, but I'm not hearing you. I hope you can hear me. Um, Ian,
Hi there.
Ian, I like
Are
this
you able to hear
shot.
me? Because I've been in.
I can hear you very fine. I like this shot a lot, man.
That's good. Oh, good. That's right. Well, I had the same problem as Thad did a minute ago. I've been in and out a few times. Webinar wasn't engaging with me. So, if you, Thad, if you're hearing, just go out and come back.
Yeah,
Right. Well,
it's
I'm glad you like this. When I originally shot this, it wasn't a particularly good photo, and I thought I've got to have to put some processing in here just to give it some atmosphere because it wasn't moody enough, and so I played around, and she had red lips, and I just changed them to make a little bit of blue. Her hair was slightly red. I put some blue in there. I just introduced a blue tone to the image, and I was quite pleased with it. I thought it had a bit of drama in it.
yeah, it does. The toning reminds me of old print techniques where we would split tone like sepia and blue, and it really does have that look to it. Um, did you ever print traditionally?
No, I'm a child of the digital age. Well, that's not
Okay.
true. At school, we had a dark room and I played around a bit, but um, I really didn't engage into photography until the digital age came along. So I've not printed much.
Yeah, we could do a thing called split toning. some toners like sepia always attack midtones and highs, right?
Yep, it
Blue
does.
blue toner would attack the dark values. And when you look at this, that looks exactly like a black and white prints that I used to do when I do split toning. For a couple of years, my entire fashion book was all monochrome, but it was full of tones. I did everything from sepia to gold to blue to everything. It was There are very few shots in my book that were pure black and white. Everything had tone, but they were all monochromatic. That was my style back in the day, a long time ago. This has
Yeah.
that feel to it. You were right, I think, very right to kill the lips on this. You've got this great um, light on her cheeks and cheekbones and everything, and you let usually I don't care much for these under eye shadows, but it works for this shot.
Yeah, I originally removed it and I felt it didn't work, so I put it back in.
Yeah, because I'm looking at it and taking it out of my mind, and I'm going, wow, then it sort of looks like a high school senior shot, some girl smoking.
Yeah,
Um, and this is pretty cool. Now, the post process, did you use some blurring techniques down here? Is that
there is a bit. I created a vignette blur.
that's cool. It works really well because it works with this old stuff. Boy, if you'd told somebody you shot this with an old camera, they'd believe it. And that's kind of a cool thing.
Yeah. The only problem I have is I'm in the commercial world. I'm not sure what you actually do with an image like this.
It's kind of an editorial shot. Yeah. If if you had to shoot like a an actress or uh, this she looks like a bad girl, maybe
Yep.
she's a singer, a rocker, or whatever. She's going to smoke because she's going to show everybody she's not going to listen to the rules and stuff. Absolutely. And the fact that you've got um, this great dynamic happening here in the face um, makes it sell. It just sells it perfectly. Sure. And this is not really a pro smoking photograph, even though she's smoking.
No,
There's nothing.
interesting you should say that because this was originally killed off of Flickr. It got turned off and made into, because on Flickr you've got safe settings and you've got not safe settings.
Yeah.
Someone went in and manually changed this to not safe. I had 3 photos of people smoking, and all 3 got turned off, which meant you can't share them. I couldn't then put them onto the Flickr group.
Well,
Um,
you can argue with that with Flickr, right?
well, I just ignored them and turned it back on.
Yeah, absolutely. What a
But it
what?
just shows you that there is some sensitivity out there.
Yeah, I, I'm a real big believer personally, and I don't want to offend anybody, but I can't imagine smoking. I mean, it just doesn't compute in my brain. But at the same time, I can't imagine listening to LL Cool J either. So I just let people do what they want to do. They just can't come crying to me when it didn't work out.
I would agree.
I'm not that compassionate. I go, oh, you're sick and you smoked. Bummer. Have a nice day. I mean, sorry. So yeah, I didn't mean to push that. I don't see anything positive in this at all. Um,
No,
uh, so it could easily be, um, I could see this on the pages of Vanity Fair, for instance, just because
yeah, I
she'd
mean,
be
it
like a
could go
bad
there.
girl.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's an actress. She's a punk rocker. She's a someone like that. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thanks.
Very good. Solid. Let's see. Chris Dean. Mr. Dean.
Hello.
Hello. A Romeo and Juliet, huh?
Uh-huh.
Wow. Where'd you get the cigar?
Cuba.
Okay.
Yeah, kicking around in the house from a trip there a couple of years ago. So,
Um, I really like your light, and using the white um, cigar holder as your fill card is great. That's just great. Now you do have a larger fill over here, right?
yeah, well, it's a piece of paper
Yeah.
just held
Yeah, we can
on the
see it
left.
right
Yeah.
here. We can see it in this here, and we see it along this part of the tobacco here. But that edge right there, that's this guy. Yeah, very cool. Very commercial. Um, I can see a lot of type running over here. And the two shadows coming forward are kind of editorial in effect, um, kind of tell a story of that backlight. So it's almost like two people standing there, two,
Mm.
two subjects. Um, Great job on this label. This label's going a little bit dark here. I think we could have used a really small white card over here just to open this label up so it didn't die. You could probably bring this back in Lightroom.
Yep.
Don't let this part of the label go so dark because this label is so important to the manufacturer. The cigar looks great. It's got the highlight over here. This shows the texture. We got the highlight over here, so it kind of rims it. There's a lot of dynamics in the cigar. That's pretty cool. That's well done there.
Thank you.
So how did you? What's the specific tools you use to light this?
So it's just one light. It's a speed light behind to camera right, and then fill card are sort of on the left, but a bit more in front because too far around to the left didn't give enough. The white
Mm-hmm.
case was actually kind of dying,
Mm-hmm.
and then I just played with the angle to get with the camera angle and with the angle of the backlight to get those shadows how I wanted them, and still get that sort of low angle when you see you've got the low angle on the cigar, so the cigar
Mm-hmm.
looks sort of tall and impressive. And
Yeah, and perfect position for your horizon line.
thanks.
Keeping it right at the edge. That just makes these guys, they're very tall. They're supremely, they're part of they are the subject. That's exactly where that horizon line needs to be. Good background too, by the way, the colors and stuff. So did you modify the speed light at all?
No, just it was zoomed, but other than that, no.
Okay. Um, Next time you try something like this with a bare speed light,
Mm,
try putting like a piece of typing paper,
hmm.
or there's this is something that I just discovered. There's a cooking paper, a paper that bakers use, so it can
Oh yes.
withstand a lot of heat, but it's frosted, right?
Hmm.
It also doesn't seem to have much of a color cast. It seems to
Hmm.
be pretty, whatever goes through it comes out the other side. It's not adding color to it. So check it. Just make a little loop. Okay. So tape part on the top, loop it out over the front of your flash so it sticks out about an inch and a half, and then down at the bottom. So there's space in between the flash head and that diffuser. It's the
Hmm.
same kind of effect that you get with a bare speed light. So you still get your shadows, but that edge transition right here seems to be just a little bit smaller because um, that rounded piece of diffusion
Okay.
diffuses the edge of the highlight of the specular. So it's not. I'm not saying it's better. I'm just saying it's different. Just try it so you can see how both of those can work. You're not changing the size of the speed light. What you're doing is you're creating a spread of the light, and it can be pretty cool.
Oh, that's helpful. Thank you.
Yep. All right. Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. Andres. Hey, Andres. How are you?
Mr. Janati. Good morning, Mr. Janati. I'm very well. How are you?
Good. So is this one of those new e-cigarettes?
It is, yeah, it is an e-cigarette. And I try to go with a futuristic feel.
Yeah. Is
I
that a
just,
is that a mannequin that you have, or is that something?
it's a human hand actually. I just turned it to a mannequin type-ish hand.
Ah, okay.
My video is frozen. Hold on, let me pull up the picture. All right, so yeah, so I that's my girlfriend's hand actually. I asked her to hold the e-cigarette, and I didn't light it properly. To be honest, I didn't light the hand properly because I knew I was gonna do so much photoshopping on it
Uh-huh.
that is not gonna matter much.
You just needed the
So
outline.
everything is really added. So first I cut out the hands, and I cut out the hands separately from the e-cigarette, and then I took the vibrance off, so you get this really pale hands.
Mm-hmm.
And then I added some. I painted in some white, just on a separate layer, just with some white. With a brush. I just painted in some white on the hand and around the hand, so you got a bit of a glow around it. I added and I changed the blend mode to.
Oh. Andres, are you there?
Quite a few. Hold on. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, well, yeah. You
Better now.
right
Can you
after
hear
you
me?
said changing the blend mode, it just went crazy here.
All right, okay. So I changed it to soft light. So you brighten up the hand, and then I blur the hand, so you get rid of the texture. Then I got the pen tool out, and I managed little intersections. I managed those little blue curves, trying to
Mm-hmm.
simulate like separate joints and all that.
Right, right.
And on layer styles, I added inner shadow on those little blue cuts, so they have a little depth to them. And then I use this sandwich technique for the background. I add the background behind it, but I also add the background on the top of as a top layer on the top of the whole stack, and I pull down the opacity, and I change the blend mode to multiply, so you get those. It picks the hand as well. It picks up the color of the surroundings. And I watched quite a few Flern videos recently, and I'm a very big fan of Flern, and I try to pick up those little subtle techniques Aaron Nace is teaching.
Those guys are great.
They are really,
They
really
are really
amazing.
great. They're just really quality. You can learn so much from those guys. It's just amazing. They're great.
I think and I always learn something new. In every video, there's something new. So I added some shadows because I didn't have enough contrast. I also used the technique called toning when I create a black and white version of the image, and then I add it on the top of the other image, and I change the blend modes usually to overlay or multiply. So you get the black and white tonal differences come through the color image.
Mm-hmm.
And you can increase contrast very well that way, and then it's just I love using it in portraits, but it did work well here as well. And yeah, it's just little details. After that, I painted the light because the flash overpowered the light in the e-cigarette, because I had it on a charger, so you can actually see the glow bulb. Once I shot it, obviously it killed the beam, so I had to paint that little turquoise-ish, greenish LED light in.
Okay.
For the end. So yeah, it's just what was really good about this, that I only spent from shooting till retouching, like the whole thing took me around 3 hours, 4 hours max, which I think was pretty good for a composite. So,
very good. And it really the idea is totally sold here.
I'm glad it came through.
Yeah, like a robotic hand having a cigarette. Robots having a cigarette.
Well, basically, yeah.
Yeah. Or maybe somebody in some sort of space suit.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well. It's not. To be honest, I always wanted to do like a cyborg robot hand. But it's actually really tough. I looked at a couple of videos. There's a couple of designer guys on YouTube pull up a few speed art videos. You know, when they show it on a speeded up version of the whole retouching, so you can watch this 4-hour long retouching in like 15 minutes or something. And it's like the stuff the guys do there is like pretty amazing. They take away, they separate the joints, and they get like little images or little they cut out certain parts of little metallic engines from other images, and they insert it in between the joints of the finger, so it does look like you have like little metallic joints implanted there. And then when they cut off and they they cut the fingers they separate the joints, and then when they pull them apart, they recreate a three-dimensional little cavity, a little cave, a little hole in every single piece of joint, and that's what they did first, and then they build in the little metallic bits. I mean, it's amazing what the
It
guys can
it,
do.
it, it really
I
is.
was
Did you
I
see the
did go with an
movie?
easier version.
Did you
Hmm?
see the movie Life of Pi?
Yeah, I did actually. I love the CGI there. It was really
You know that the
beautiful.
tiger was 80% CGI?
Yeah, I heard that it was all, yeah, it was
Oh
all
my
CGI.
God.
Unbelievable, yeah. I mean,
Well,
it's amazing. Believe it or not.
there was a book, there was a story, a short story written about the first Hollywood actress that would be CGI. Then they made a really terrible movie about something similar to that. But
All right.
I'm not sure we're that far away
Mm-hmm.
from, creating the absolute perfect guy and perfect woman through CGI and making them so believable
Mm-hmm.
that they look like real people and having those be stars. I don't think
Yeah.
we're that far away. Um,
Yeah. I think I
so
remember that movie.
yeah, very cool. Nice job. Very nice job.
Thank, thank you very much.
Solid job. Let's see. Is Thad back? No, I guess he couldn't get in. We lost Thad and someone else having a hard time. Thad, let me tell you what I like about your shot, which I like a lot of it. I think the idea of the side light here coming in and giving us all this texture, because there's lots and lots of texture in this photograph. That's really well done. And keeping this hand, looks like the sweater here is giving us a little backlight here on the hand so that nothing drops off into the shadow, which is such an important part of what we do. Amateurs drop off into the shadows. Photographers, we find ways to keep the image alive. And we're not blasting him with another light back here for that sort of uh, fake fad light. This is very real and very nicely done. He's lit up beautifully. The smoke is lit up beautifully. Looks like there's probably more smoke here than there really would have been. So I think you've probably added a little bit to the smoke. Looks like it's coming up from behind him here. That part I think I would get rid of. That I think I really would get rid of all this down here and let the smoke just generate from the match up, because it's a little confusing to the eye down here. Solid processing, hyper sharp, hyper real processing. Well done. Super well done. I want to go back to Ian's real quick. Ian, are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm about.
I wanted to ask you how you lit this. I forgot to ask you. Is this natural light, or you've got a speed light somewhere, or what?
This was natural light. I had the girl standing underneath some railway arches, so she was in shadow, because that then brought the eyes out,
Uh-huh.
and I was trying to get her eyes to come out. So yes, that was. I did. I was actually doing a shoot, and I was shooting her with speed lights. And for this was one of her breaks, so she wasn't shooting particularly. She was just on a break, and I suddenly realised that I actually needed a shot of someone smoking. So I think there were some speed lights in the background. They might have fired, but I wasn't trying to use them to light this shot.
Okay.
So some of the background might have been lit. She was
There's
lit by natural light.
there's something going on here. That could be just natural light under the bridge, but
Yeah,
yeah.
that's. I have to be honest. I don't know whether that was some of the reflection off the speed lights, whether it was natural light.
Okay.
She is only lit by natural light.
Okay. Nicely done. Nicely done. That's what I wanted to find out. Thanks, everyone. So, any questions? Any questions at all? All right. I am in the middle of one-on-ones for the outgoing people. Then you guys are next. I think some of you guys have signed up already, right? I think Christine has, right? Chris, have you signed up for a one-on-one? Didn't I see your name go through?
No, I haven't yet, but
Okay.
I will do. You said after the 10th of April, didn't you?
Yes. Yes. And there's also coming up next weekend, coming up another business webinar. So watch for that. I'll post that tomorrow. I'm heading down to the downtown Phoenix. I've got to go where my daughter is having rehearsal and shoot rehearsal pics of the of the kids, which is always fun because at some time within the next hour and a half, I will be accosted by a couple of angry moms wanting to know who the hell I am taking pictures of their little girls. At which point I have to explain I'm the staff photographer, and it's always delightful. Yes, there's not a day that goes by it's not fun. So I'm off to do that. I'll post this video later tonight, and I will see you guys next week. It's gonna be a real fun week for Project 52. Been working on new things, and wait till you see what comes up. This is gonna be fun. Talk to you soon, guys. Thanks.
Thank you.